It's not the next day yet, so everything is soaking in carb juice. I just wanted to do a quick before and after, so you can see the carb cleaning juice is like clear in there. If there's any varnish contamination, that will turn like a greeny blue colour as it reacts with the varnish. Let's come back in the morning, see what that looks like. Right, see you in a bit. Okay, good morning. It is tomorrow. So, I woke myself up in the middle of the night really excited. No, not that. Because, actually, go to the beginning. Bit of varnish come out of them, but not a great deal. I was thinking on this, God, I can't really understand. I mean, it literally will not run without the choke on, and there's no like major blockage. A couple of the pilot jets look maybe partially blocked, but nothing horrific to stop it completely running. And I had this brainwave. I thought, I wonder if the vboost valve is open, stuck open, because they will not run low down if ever you've had one with a vboost that's open. I thought, oh, it must be that. Came in the workshop all excited this morning. Yes, not that. So I'm a little bit of a loss. I can't really. Obviously there was issues with the slides and the, self-inflicted, a lot of that. No real reason why it won't run low down. Anyway, what's the plan? The plan is, I haven't got a plan. I think all I can do at this point, let me clean the carbs properly, reassemble them properly, refit them, and let's reassess at that point, see where we're up to. I'm trying to get, those nasty Jubilee clips holding the carbs on. Trying to get the genuine Yamaha ones quickly, because my OCD does not want these carbs to be held on with those horrible non-genuine clips. Not given how beautiful this bike is and how absolutely mint and original it is. That just seems criminal to me to do that. Anyway, I won't waffle anymore. I'm going to get these carbs washed through. They're not going to be ultrasonically cleaned or anything. They're just going to be washed through a brake cleaner. I mean, they're absolutely mint. You'd make them look worse by putting them in an ultrasonic tank. I'm just going to flush through all the passageways with brake cleaner now they've been soaked with chemical, see what I get out of them, airline them off. Let's put them all back together. Some new float bowl gaskets, some new jet carrier gaskets. Let's see where we end up. Right, stop waffling and get on with work. Bye. As if by magic. So it's a few days later again, all back together, super duper clean. All new JIS screws, float bowl, everywhere where there was a slightly rounded screw. All the diaphragms, just all back together, nice and neat and tidy. Okay, and then I've been shopping. I spoke to the customer, and I feel like maybe I bullied him a little bit, and I didn't, and he was with me. But I was like, I can't put this thing back together with those dodgy clips. So he agreed that he would spend a bit of money and buy all the genuine Yamaha ones. £15 each with a VAT, these, and there's 8 of them. So we've got all the proper clips, so it can all go back together exactly how it should be. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, this absolutely made my weekend. That last clip was Friday. They've sat on the bench over the weekend. I got them back together. They've had a fuel supply to them, by the way, all weekend, just to make sure they don't leak. This turned up over the weekend. Remember in that GSXR video, I was moaning that I didn't have a blue CMS NL keyring? Well, some very kind gentleman by the name of David Higgs in Australia sent me some keyrings. How awesome is that? I tell you what, it's stuff like that, honestly. I just despair. Fucking I'm going to go down a waffle hole. I just despair about the state of the world at the moment. It's just, honestly, everybody's going batshit crazy, aren't they? The world is just appears to be completely broken, and you think, fucking hell, we're not going to survive as a species. It's all going horribly wrong. And then it's little things like this. I know it's nothing. It's 3 key rings. Another human that doesn't know me, that's never met me, spent the time putting these in a bag, going to the post office, paying the money, whatever it was. I just, honestly, it's a nothing really, isn't it? But it gives me hope. It really does. Anyway, flipping heck. Let's get these on the bike. I'm not convinced I fixed it, if I'm honest. They were definitely in need of a service, if you like. They needed to come apart. They needed to be, oh my God, there's my phone again. Excuse me. Let me stop that. They needed to come apart. The diaphragms were trapped. I'm much happier now. They've got all the proper screws in, and they're all, they're exactly like a brand new set, which is what this bike deserves. And then we can fix the abortion of the clips and stuff. Let's get them on. I'm not convinced I've fixed it. If I haven't, then that's probably the end of this video, and there's going to be a part 2, and it's half of me wants it to not be fixed because it's going to make for an interesting video. But anyway, I'm stalling. Let's get them on the bike and see what happens. And then the other thing I just wanted to show you, I was talking about the vboost valve. What I've done is, if you get those out of there, if you reach in, you can feel the butterfly valve with your finger. What I've been doing is, so when you turn the ignition on, watch down in there, open, close. So it goes through a little cycle when you turn the ignition on. What I've been doing is I've been cranking it and just feeling to see if the valve is opening. Something was going wrong with that. The valve is staying shut. I'm going to pay particular attention to it once it's running, because you can see up through there and see whether it's in the closed position, and you can also see the servo motor up here. I'm not even sure why I shared that with you. I just wanted to show you what how I know that valve is shut. You can feel in there with your finger. It's basically another set of butterflies, if you didn't know, between, yeah. Okay, carbs on. Although first job is I need to take those inlet manifold rubbers off and, yeah, get all these clips in position first. God, that makes me happy. Okay, carburetors are on, inlet manifold rubbers all on. Use those new clips, which do make me happy. What else to say? There was a clip missing on the breather pipe for the airbox, which concerns me a bit. When stuff like that's missing, and at some point in its life the bike has had, open inlet manifolds, you wonder where these clips go to, but not much you can do about that. That ship has already sailed. Right, okay. So, turn the ignition on. There's no airbox on it or anything, just full choke. Well, okay. It did that before. Let me back the choke off a little bit. Get this camera down here. Well, it sounds a bit happier. Get this choke backed off a bit. Oh, it's sort of idling. Whoa. Oh, jeez. What was that about? It sounds, I don't know whether it's coming out on the mic, but it sounds very 3-cylinder-y. But the choke is all the way in, and it's a lot happier than it was before. Let me... Yeah, that doesn't sound happy at all. I know it's not warmed up yet. Let me get some vacuum gauges hooked up, because I don't know. I didn't check on the bench whether they were even... Oh, it's not happy. I didn't check on the bench whether they were anywhere near correct or not, which I should have done. You can just eyeball them you know, just and use feeling. And I'm not getting into that bench balancing. It's a bit of a pet hate of mine. I have actually got a little side project going on, and when I've pulled it off, I'll probably share it. But I've got a machine for pulling a vacuum on carburetors and measuring them. Anyway, it's a way of balancing carbs properly on the bench. Obviously, once they're on the engine, we've discussed this, haven't we, that they'll need to be readjusted again, but it's a more accurate way. I think it's going to be a more accurate way than using a feeler gauge or eyeballing them to actually balance. Fucking hell. Waffling. Get some vacuum gauges hooked up and let's have a measure and see what's going on. Right, carb balancing. Let's start it up. Oh, I see. Let's turn the idle up a bit. Maybe it will idle on its own without throttle. Oh, wowzers. Okay. Can you see how out of balance they are? Right. What to say? In fact, let me just turn it off for a second. That's not uncommon for one of these. Remember on the bench we had the carbs split into pairs, so we had the two carbs on this side, which are number 1 and 2, and the carbs on the other side, which are 3 and 4, split from one another with the two little brackets on the side. Well, when they go back together, there's a linkage between the two and they never quite end up sitting in the same place. So this is not particularly uncommon, is all I'm saying. So not really a cause for concern. I could have eyeballed them on the bench and got them a lot closer, but I didn't. So let's find a screwdriver. Right, it's one of these on this side. Can't remember which one. Is that helping? Yes. Okay. Oh, it's nearly there. Right, let's turn this idle speed down a smidgen. Let's get these two. Oh, didn't like that. I think we might have won, guys. That seems quite happy. Right, let's get it. It's not up to temperature yet. Let's get it a bit warmer, and I'll also get my gas analyzer and see if we're somewhere near right. Righty ho. So the carbs are balanced. I've had it up to temperature. Balance the carbs. I want to do the CO, the idle mixture, but I do want the airbox on before I do that. If it's possible, put the air filter on when you're doing any sort of mixture adjustment. Probably isn't going to make a great deal of difference to the idle mixture, but it's just good practice. There's a pipe here, a breather pipe for the bottom of the airbox, and if you've ever done one of these, you'll know what an absolute pain in the cunnilingus this pipe can be. Trick is, take it off the crankcase so you can pull the pipe up, and then you can get it spot on with a clip on the back here, and then you can feed it back down. You know what I'm saying? He says, oh, it's heaven to put on. They're normally a massive fight because the rubbers are all rock hard and horrible, and that just goes together like a new one. Right, I'll get this tightened up. You're in the way, this camera is in the way. I'll get that all tight and we'll do the idle mixture quickly. And we'll put, yeah, speak. I was going to say, shall I take you on a road test? Yes, let's go and have a ride on it. A couple of other things it needs as well. Wants the coolant changing and the brake fluid changing. That's on my to-do list. Let me get this tight. I might show you the idle mixture, might not. Let's go and have a spin on it. Right, okay, so airbox is all on. Carburetors are balanced still. Why wouldn't they be? So I'm just doing some idle mixture measurement. Now obviously, I can't do individual cylinders. There's 2 exhaust pipes on this and there's a collector underneath. So I'm doing both sides and I'm going to take the average. So it's at 15.5 and then the other side is, what, 15.1, 15 something. That's not far off. So it would seem it's slightly lean. So I've got the mixture screws 3 turns out, which is the stock setting. I'm just going to scooch them out about 1/8 of a turn, just a tiny weeny bit. I don't know if you can hear the change in engine note, but the revs increased ever so slightly. I've done all 4 carburetors the same amount because I can't do individual cylinders. You understand? I've got to do, I know that the carbs are known good, all nice and clean, so I'm increasing the mixture on all 4 cylinders. Maybe slightly on the rich side. Let's try the other exhaust pipe. That side is about dead nuts on, maybe ever so slightly reading, ever so slightly lean. So I'm going to call that good enough. Okay. Sounds lovely, ticks over, revs nice. Let me get the bodywork back on and stuff, and let's go and have a little bit of a road testy. Oh, actually, I've got to do my brake fluid and my coolant, which means I've got to let the engine cool down before I can do the coolant, and then it needs MOTing as well. But anyway, next shot will be me riding it. See you in a bit. Just listening to that clip back. Microphones sound awful. I've just swapped mics. I've got 2 DJI mics. I've just swapped over. I don't know whether this sounds any different, but probably not. Has anybody got any recommendation for a good microphone that will, you know, pick up the natural sound of an engine? Because I'm stood next to this thing and it sounds lovely, and when I listen back, it it sounds like a fucking fart in a bean can. Anyway, onwards. I promise we're going to get to the road test in a minute. I've just thought of another top tip for you. Now, the carburetors are balanced perfectly. I did just have another little tweak of them. They're perfectly balanced. The idle mixture's set perfectly. There's one other thing you need to check when you're doing carburetor work, and I couldn't test it before because it was running so badly, but now it appears to be running spot on. You've got to check for vacuum leaks, guys. You can really get burnt because you can tune away a little bit of a vacuum leak by doing carburetor synchronization, and then that can cause you other issues in the future. So what am I trying to say? You've seen this a million times before. If I start it up, just got to get a little bit busy with some brake cleaner in all the critical places, and you'll immediately hear the engine note change. Anyway, that's my top tip. Let's turn this off. Yeah, you can. In fact, I've definitely shown it in some of my carburettory videos where there's been a vacuum leak and people have adjusted the synchronization. Can't speak. They've adjusted the synchronization of the carbs, and it's masked the vacuum leak. And then when you go through the carburetors, you clean them, you put new inlet manifold rubbers on and stuff, you'll if you haven't messed with the synchronization of the carbs, you'll find that the carbs are massively out of synchronization because you've got rid of the vacuum leak. It's a sure sign that the carbs were once adjusted in a way that had sort of covered over that problem. You can also have that scenario with, and I know we've talked about this as well, blocked air jets, like main air jet or pilot air jet blocked. usually main air jet, that can throw out the carburetor balance, and then people think, oh, they put vacuum gauges on and they think, oh, it just needs a carb balance, and they'll synchronize the carburetors, and there's just that niggly not quite running right problem. Anyway, fucking hell, waffleage. So I'm going to do the coolant, I'm going to do the brake fluid, I'm going to put all the bodywork back on. Let's go ride it. I promise you're not seeing me again until we're actually on the bike. Are you taking the piss? I'm only joking. I'll see you in a minute. So it's ticking over beautifully. There's no reason to assume this road test isn't going to be anything other than perfect, but you never know. I can't go my normal road test route. They've been getting the mazing, and the amount of mud on the road, it's literally impossible to ride down there, and I really don't want to get this bike dirty. There's a little bit of moisture on the road, so I'm probably going to have to give it a little bit of a rinse when I get back, but I don't want to turn it into a full-blown motorbike cleaning session. So I'm just feathering the throttle, just seeing what it's like on part throttle, you know, just as you crack the throttle, because often they can be fine apart from that very first little bit of throttle. We'll just like click it into second and then third, and then let's just pootle along. And what you find is they can be really surgy. Just as you get on the throttle, crack the throttle, that butterfly, the first little tiny bit, they can feel a little bit on off, and you can't maintain a constant speed, and that's usually a lean condition, just as the throttle's starting to open. It feels absolutely fine. Oh yes, right, let's put my goggles down so you can hear me a bit better. I'm slowly mastering the mic situation for when I'm road testing. You listen to some of these bike vloggers, I'd love to know what their mic setups are, because you can always hear them absolutely perfectly. Are they using those in helmet, you know, comm systems, and then using the mic for that maybe? I don't know. Let's concentrate on riding. Roads are really greasy. It's that worst, not wet, not dry. The tyres on this are the original tyres, so the tyres are, what, 25 years old? No, 20 years old. Still 15 years older than they ought to be. Not anything to report, guys, it just feels lovely. I think we'll probably cut this road test short and do a UE and go back. I can give it a little bit of a blast. There's a straight bit coming up, I can just wind it on a bit. It feels criminal putting miles on this thing, it's such low mileage. I like coming this way, scenery's beautiful. This is basically the view I have from my back garden, which is rather nice. Oh, typical, there's bloody cars in the way. Oh, do you think he wants to race me? Yeah, he's I'm not the guy for that, not on somebody else's bike. I'm good sort of road testy tell is also when you come to a junction like this and you just coast to a stop with a clutch in, does it come down to a nice smooth idle without any issues, which it is. Nothing behind me, I just want to let that car go. I just want to do one full throttle pull, just not to go fast, but just to make sure that there aren't any problems lurking higher in the rev range. Fucking hell, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Right, back to sensible mode. You forget how good these were actually. They got quite a lot of go, even by modern standards. Okay guys, I'm calling time on this video. If you can spare me a like and a subscribe, that would be amazing. Only 40% of you that watch these videos, make sure I don't get the pegs down, only 40% of you that watch these videos are subscribed. So if you could subscribe, that would be incredible. And then as always, if you want to join in the conversation over in the Discord, become a patron and you can do that. There's lots of service information available, hundreds and hundreds of workshop manuals you can download for free, etc. So become a patron and get yourself over there and join in. Excuse me guys. Bloody hell, I think I swallowed a fly. Thank you guys. I'll see you on the next one. What the fuck?